Freedom Radio Hour. Live on Capital Radio 91.6 FM.
All right, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Freedom Radio Hour. I'm your host, DJ Adam Cruz, and I have my fantastic co-host right here,
Eddie Nicholas. What up, beautiful people, and welcome to Capital Radio 91.6 FM. We are so glad that you decided to come and join us today. We are giving you the heartbeat of Sudan. Boom,
yes.
Boom, 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 boom. What's going on, Adam?
Well, first, let our listeners and our viewers know what's happening. The Freedom Radio Hour is here, not only giving you fantastic music tonight, but we're also here to be your number one source for music, business news, and trends from around the globe. We broadcast live on Capital Radio 91.6 FM and on the web at dwildmusicradio.com. First up, oh my gosh, there's so much to talk about,
Well,
but I have
let's
to
talk
condense
about
it. So first out of the gate, you know about this safe harbor provision. You remember the DMCA? That's short for Digital Millennium Copyright Act. It's basically the basis for which we're able to enjoy copyright ownership. So Congress stepped in, they laid out a language so that we're protected. There's a safe harbor provision in that. That basically allows companies like YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, anything, any user-generated platforms, that allows you to put your content up, right? But if the material is questionable or possibly infringing on copyright, they have a takedown notice, and as long as YouTube and them put that system in place, the takedown notice system, and they do that for Eddie's material, for example, and take it down, then YouTube and the other companies are not liable. The safe harbor provision allows them to be immune from any sort of lawsuits that might ensue from such infringement, because they have provided a system where people can take or request a takedown. Okay, so what happened though is we were trying to figure out what happens when that safe harbor provision is jeopardized or compromised in some way. Very recently, however, we've come to realize the following. So here in the U.S., there's been a back and forth on this problem. Why? Because some feel like if you leave the onus on the person to chase the person who infringed on the copyright, it's basically like a needle in a haystack effect. There's so much content being uploaded that it's very hard for an individual through a legal team to go and pursue any sort of recourse, legally speaking, when there's so many people putting up questionable content. So YouTube and all the other sites are sitting kind of pretty in this aspect because they don't have to be sued for any reason because they provide these takedown systems. But Safe Harbor has been compromised now because in the district court, what happened was, let me back it up. So what happened was Capitol Records decided to sue a video platform. That's not YouTube. It's called Vimeo.
Okay. Yes, I'm very familiar with that.
Yeah, so what they try to do is sue Vimeo for the over 200 videos that have been uploaded by users that has questionable content that Capitol Records says they own. So they're suing over that issue, right? But because of Safe Harbor, they're saying, okay, we're not liable because of this, what I've already explained. But Capitol Records saying, you are liable. You are liable because the material that we're talking about is pre-existing to 1972. Do you remember that when the DMCA came into effect, it only encompassed recordings, music recordings from 1972 to the present?
Okay.
So what Capitol Records legal team was arguing is that we have a lot of content that we're talking about that predates 1972, which was not in that safe harbor provision, so you owe us money.
Now, my question is, when we're talking about that, because when you're talking about user content,
right?
When is there a separation between me as the person? I'm at a concert.
Right.
I'm using my camera.
Right.
I'm not charging anybody,
right.
And it's not for sale.
Right.
It's just for me to post up on my page to share the event of where I've been at. And we're talking about people loading up those type of videos that they're trying to go after. Correct. Is it a matter because the songs that are included in the videos? Because there has to become a point whereas me as the individual, okay, I put it up, but I'm not selling it. I'm not doing anything else with it. And
well,
there's
two different arguments here, right?
There's
two different arguments here. One, it's a very valid question. How is copyright protected?
And then again, because then now that content that I videotaped, that video is now mine.
Right, but you're basically capturing content that's not yours. That's like putting on your camera onto the TV as it broadcasts the Oprah Winfrey show, for example. So you're saying this is me capturing that, but the content that you're viewing is protected. So, and the reason why is the artists are saying when you do that, we don't make any money from you capturing the little. I understand it's your camera. But me, if you're capturing me live in concert, let's say, I don't make any money from you, the fan, doing that showcases and people can hear and see the material, right? So what they're trying to say is the district court agreed with Capitol Records and saying, you know what? This material that predated 1972, it's not protected like the others. So let's go ahead and grant you a summary judgment on this. But now, more recently, the Second Circuit Court evidently came back to disagree. So now we're doing this ping pong thing, where now we're back on the side of any material, whether it predates 1972 or not, is protected. And so therefore safe harbor provision is applicable, and Vimeo in this case is not liable.
It's not liable.
But it really opens up a can of worms, because to your point, what in other scenarios, and let's say it's not just somebody putting up a song with the cover on it. Maybe it's a live concert. Maybe it's interviewing an artist that's on Capitol Records and they break into song. Is that copyright protected?
Exactly.
How do you deal with these real life moments? Let's take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk more about another streaming service coming out from Amazon. And this is a little bit different. I'm kind of fascinated by this. And we're also going to break down some planning. You know that we have Eddie's Do You Want to Dance LP coming out in September. We have a brand new single coming up on the 30th of June called You Left Me. And we want to make some plans. So we're going to help Eddie out right here. Where?
Capital Radio 91.6 FM. You see how I just jumped in? He was ready to say, but we'll be back.
Freedom Radio Hour, y'all.
Freedom Radio Hour. Live on Capital Radio 91.6 FM.
What up, beautiful people, and welcome back to 91.6 FM Freedom Radio. We're so glad that you decided to stick with us. I'm Eddie Nicholas, and I'm here with my buddy Adam Cruz, and we were just talking about some wonderful, wonderful information. But you know what, Adam? I'm thinking about it. You know, it's just kind of crazy, you know, with what we were talking about in regards to the
decisions that
are being made and all that type of stuff. And again, we find ourselves back in that ping pong type of adage, whereas me, if I'm a user, and again, I'm at a concert and I pick up my camera and I'm shooting, you know, the effect of what's going on at that actual moment of the concert. Okay, the song may be on, but that video content is mine.
Right.
So, you know, again, with the safe harbor, and I love the word because remember that word harbor.
Yes.
That harbor means to be able to maintain something somewhere.
Yes.
So with that being said, I understand why they do have that safe harbor, but how does it affect us as the average Joe Schmo user?
And especially when you consider that in these moments, it's not like you're charging or someone's paying for access to it. It's just this free sort of promotional thing. But
and you said the word free promotional, because if I'm looking at something and I'm contemplating on going, and I see all these users where they have shared that, I'm like, oh, I think I may want to go and spend my money and go and actually see the live show.
Well, because of what's happening with streaming, and there's this natural propensity to just access the material, stream it, and you don't actually have to download or pay for things, you have artists and musicians up at arms because they want their copyright protected, whether you're selling it, whether you're giving it out for free, whether you're capturing it as a clip, a long clip, a short clip, a sample, a long sample, a teeny tiny sample. You see, there's copyright protections that exist in all these formats and all these examples that I'm giving. So what artists and musicians and copyright owners are essentially arguing is, how do we get protected in terms of our copyright from these moments, from these varied moments? And to talk about, like what we did in our past episodes, the language, the legal language in the DMCA, the Digital Millennium Copyright Act, and other language around royalty earnings are way outdated.
Yes.
And they don't have even the proper terminology like streaming and like these moments to be able to put it in the language so that we're protected further. You see, we're basically trying to make sense using an outdated system.
And you're talking about SENSE, but I hear CENTS. sense.
Yes.
How do we make sense? Okay, how do we make sense out of this nonsense that is going on in the music industry? Because again, I don't think we as artists would be chasing after the average Joe Schmo if we were getting a fair equity at the table from
And this is
start.
what we talk about all the time, which is we are pushing, all of us as an industry are pushing towards a transparent system that we could all access and own and manage, whether it be managing performance royalties, mechanical royalties, any sort of royalties. We should have at our fingertips access, real-time access to it, and be able to manage where everything is going. But so far, we have these different organizations that work on our behalf. But now we're starting to see a change, a switchover in that. And even lately, the articles have come out to say that while the majors are major record labels are still the major player, the independent market is growing by leaps and bounds to the tune of 37.6% they've grown. So in other words, the independent market is here to stay, and it's growing, and it's going to be more important, to Eddie's many points prior, to lobby and to have your voice heard at the table, because now we're even a stronger force than we were before.
Because now, again, we have the ability to take away from that middleman. We no longer need that middle person, and if we can get money directly streamed into our pockets, then that alleviates a whole bunch of stuff. But
I think like this. I also feel like we need to get a grip on the way this technology works and how things function. Why? Because the way the streaming services are evolving is faster than we can keep up with.
One is evolving every single day.
Yes. So in particular, Amazon has been working very diligently in broadening their business. Okay. So Amazon did things like launching their own channel called Prime, where they offer original content, much like a Netflix. But they also are launching their own streaming service. Now, I know we both want to roll our eyes because there's way too many streaming services out there, but this one is very different. Why? Because it's being built on the back of this other program that they're about called Echo. Echo is an app that's not music, okay? Echo is an app that provides you news, weather, lifestyle stuff, all in one little app. Think of like any sort of news app that you could download today, NPR, whatever. You have your news items, the headlines of the day, the weather, so on and so forth, right? So what Amazon did was that, okay, wait a minute. Everybody else is just providing a sort of streaming service, and they're hoping you'll just pay that $10 a month for access to essentially the same catalog like everybody else. Amazon said, wait a minute, let's build it in to our lifestyle app called Echo, and let's see what happens now. Evidently, this is very interesting to users because now we're not talking just a streaming service. Now we're talking about music as it's intertwined in your daily lifestyle apps. Let's say you want to get your news or weather for the day. You could also have it all accessible within the same app. Now, this is what I think the future of digital music is going, especially when you think about streaming content, because now people don't want to just download yet another app and pay another $10 a month for something that's essentially the same music when you think about it. I think now it's going to be, what can we do to have it into culture? Remember we talked about how everybody's trying to figure out how to get culture from a phone? So I think this is getting towards that, intertwining things. I think in the future, I wouldn't be surprised if Amazon also integrates their Prime service, all that original TV shows I was telling you about, into the same sort of lifestyle app. So that's going to be the future. Let's take another break. When we come back, we're going to talk strategy for this Do You Want to Dance LP coming out in September from Mr. Eddie Nicholas. And we're going to see what happens. How can you bring more money, more streaming content money, more download income money? We're going to figure it out. Where?
91.6 FM, the heartbeat of Sedan.
Freedom Radio Hour, y'all. Come back with us.
Freedom Radio Hour.
And we're back live on Capital Radio 91.6 FM, the heartbeat of Sudan, and on the web at dwildmusicradio.com. You're deep in the zone right here at the Freedom Radio Hour, where your number one source for music, business news, and trends from around the globe. I'm Adam Cruz, along with my fantastic co-host,
Eddie Nicholas, and we're here back. We were talking about a whole bunch of things prior to that, and I know
we were trying to strategize.
Strategize and all that good stuff. And we're going to move on because, now we're talking about getting products done.
Yes. So now we were kind of breaking down what's happening in streaming income and in streaming media. Now we want to talk about some strategies. So Eddie has an LP coming out in September called the Do You Want to Dance LP. We also have a single dropping in this month to promote one of the songs from that project, okay? So what we want to discuss real quick right now is how to strategize. How do we do that? So the first order of business, have a pre-release plan. What does that mean? The questions you need to ask yourselves: who do you need? Who do you need to know for your launch, or what do you need to know for your launch? You also want to have an execution plan. So let's say Eddie's plan for right now is to release the album on his own store through Bandcamp first, and then we're going to window the release. That means after a spell, like 4 weeks in the store, let's say, we'll then release it on iTunes, Tracksource, and the other sites. Why are we windowing? Because we understand that as a business, Bandcamp pays out more to the artist than the other websites. They only take 15%. So that means you have 85 cents to work with, whereas the other sites like Tracksource and the others take upwards of 40% of your money. So you're only getting 60 cents at that point. So from a business standpoint, Eddie will be windowing his release first on the Bandcamp store, and then afterwards he'll release it on the other stores. So that's one kind of strategy. The other pre-release plan is, what are you going to do to tie in the release with other things? Because as we know, the digital download, the streaming dollar sinks after your releases. It's like putting up a splat of paint on a wall and watching it drip down. That's just what happens. There's a timer that starts the moment you release the record. And the timer is about attention that's paid to it. And the shelf life of these records are small, whether they're an LP or a single. So what do we want to do? We want to definitely look at, between now and September, this is what some of the things I want you to consider: how to tie in appearances, interviews, publications, and gigs around the release. Because while the download dollar is important, what's more important is using that as a business card to then get you to the other level.
Exactly, for continuous.
Right.
You know, you want things to be continuous, you know, in the planning and the plotting, the who, what, when, where, and why, all of that good stuff.
So that's all about how to execute. So how are you releasing the song? You need to ask yourself. And then the post-launch plan. So let's pretend it's out. What do you do now? Because as I said, it's like starting the timer of attention on it. And you don't want too much time lapsing and the attention gone, and then you're still trying to plug away at promoting it. So there's got to be an impact. There used to be a model where you would release a single, help promote the album comes out, and then maybe another single after. Nowadays, it's so open that you can essentially do many things. Some people are opting to release all of the singles or most of them from a project and then release the project at the end. Why? Because you get income every time. Boom, boom, boom.
And a lot of times, you know, because the music audience, we can be so fickle, we're only for that moment.
That's right. And the other thing that's really important is, in terms of the business, make sure you have your ISRC code in place, which is the International Standard Recording Code. It's like nominal, $75 to register one time. It spits out a little code. You need to add that to your records. Why? Because you want a way in which it could be branded or tattooed or watermarked in some way with your digital information. This is important for sound exchange and all of the other digital outfits for getting you paid.
In other words, tracking.
Yes. So make sure that's in place, and make sure that you hit up your performance right organization like ASCAP, BMI, or CSAC and enter those titles as soon as the record is released so that any income is not suspended. What is suspended income? It's that black box income that they hold for 3 years. That's for individuals that haven't claimed their money. They hold it for 3 years. And then after that, they give it out to the member base. But in this instance, if Beyonce's in ASCAP or BMI, she gets more of the lion's share than you in this suspended income. So you want to claim your money if it's out there for you. So I would make it your business to make sure your business is tight. Make sure that you're exploring apps and social media outfits and tools to help promote what you're doing, but also have an offline plan that's not anything to do with any sort of web or website. What is an offline plan? There's still the brick and mortar stuff. You need a flyer. You're going to need something to hand people when you're at your event. You want to make sure that people can buy your product at your event.
Like a hard copy of something.
Right? there are now a lot of ways for you to promote what you're doing and market what you're doing offline. So I would consider that. And also, last but not least, make sure you have a personal touch. One of the biggest things I'm proud of you for many reasons, but one of them is that Eddie has this knack for using his networks to build friendships over time. And what he does over time is he has the kind of friendship that he could pick up the phone and say, hey, blah, 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 I need to be here for this day at this time. Will you help? Absolutely. So he could get radio interviews, both local and international. He can get some press coverage. He can get reviews done right away. And this is all because Eddie has taken the time to have a personal touch with people.
You have to cultivate. And,
Yes.
and a lot of people, when we talk about the usage of social media is magnificent if used in the proper way.
Exactly.
Again, the networking. You now have the opportunity to network with people from around the world.
Right.
So I say this for people, take heed of that.
That's right.
And do your due diligence, because so much can come from that. You might not see it today, but somewhere down the road, when you do your due diligence, all of that comes forth. So, I'm excited, working with this project, especially working with somebody as knowledgeable as you. So, I got to give this gentleman props as well, too, because it's all a learning aspect to it. So, as long as one is willing to be open and to learn and to absorb, the important thing is not only to be open to learn, but to be able to absorb it and to be able to do what you need to do, and then find a way to give back.
Exactly.
You got to pass it on.
You have to. And part of what it is this show is about that as well, giving back, even from the little that we know, to say, look, this is what we've known, this is what we're learning, and we're sharing this as we go across. So once you plan all this around your release, let's say you're taking notes, I would go back to these episodes at freedomradiohour.com, and on YouTube we have a channel. Just search us out, because we have all of this stuff posted. You can comment under everything that we're posting, because we want to hear from you. And if you have a question, we will take the time to answer. That's all the time we have today. Thank you for tuning into the Freedom Radio Hour. Make it your business to check out EddieNicholas.com. He currently has that one-time single out right now, and of course the You Left Me single will be available as well. Check out the Do You Want to Dance LP coming back in September, and also your boy DJ Adam Cruz.
Yes, check out Adam.
LP. The Freedom LP is available everywhere, Spotify, iTunes, and more. Just search me out, Adam Cruz. Have a great week and a great week ahead. I'll see you guys next time.
Happy summer. 91.6 FM, Freedom Radio, the heartbeat of Sedan. Peace out.